Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, my favorite day of the week, or one of my favorite days of the week, because it means new beginnings. It's kind of like New Year's to me. I love it. Are you an entrepreneur? You know, I've been an entrepreneur as long as I can remember. As a child, I used to babysit and clean houses and do fundraisers for charitable organizations and things of that nature. So I've been an entrepreneur as long as I can remember. And I want to talk to you today about some of the challenges of entrepreneurship, as well as some solutions that are coming very quickly here. So I know a lot of folks have struggled this past 2 years with the pandemic. Many of you have lost your jobs. Many of you have been working from home, are unsatisfied, thinking about starting a company, not sure if you really know what you'd be doing to start a company, you know, what business you would do, or even how to go about it. There's an old saying that we don't know what we don't know. And that's especially true in the field of entrepreneurship, that there are so many things about being an entrepreneur that as an employee, we've never learned. And so we have to gain that knowledge. And the best place to gain that knowledge is from people who already have it, people who've already made the mistakes of entrepreneurship, of starting an entrepreneurship and not knowing what they're doing, to getting to that expert status. And so I'm really excited to share with you today an upcoming event that is free for those of you who are looking at entrepreneurship and trying to decide if it's right for you and what you want to do in your business. So I want to share with you a little video made by a business partner and I, one of my alliances. This is Brenda Nidabelli from London, and she and I have come together to create this amazing event. It's going to be a little over 4 days, and it is we have 26 breakout sessions, 19 speakers. But I'm not going to go into that right now. I want to get into the video and let you hear it from us as we were discussing it. So let's play that video now.
Bergman, Profit Acceleration Specialist and CEO of Bridgeport Strategy, and most excitedly, co-host of this exciting event that we're going to tell you about. Brenda?
Thank you. I am Brenda de Belle. I am the founder and CEO of A Joyful Life Coaching. I'm a health coach, I'm a life coach, and I'm a law of attraction coach. But above all, for today, I am so excited to be sitting here with my co-host for us to share with you this amazing event we've been working on for 9 months. So we are just about to give birth, people. Amazing.
And birth is right. It's had all of the labor pains, all of that, but it's going to be such a joy to hold this baby in our arms.
Absolutely. Okay. Cradling away.
Cradling away, yes. We truly have been working on this for months and months, and we want to introduce it to you today. So first, let me tell you, this is a free event, and it is called Escape the Corporate Rat Race, or Ditch the 9-to-5 Business Incubator. It's coming up in October. Let me give you those dates real quickly. We're going to do two things. We're going to spend better part of a day on 5 days out of the week of October the 18th through the 22nd. We have a few hours blocked out on the calendar to introduce you to all of the amazing speaker presenters that we're going to have as part of this event. And then October the 26th through the 30th, we'll have the actual workshops that they're going to teach. I'm so excited about this. We have 26 30-minute workshops lined up. So we're taking you from A to Z on your business. Let me tell you the three themes that we have.
But before you move away from that, if I may just underline this point, you mentioned, Regina, that we have 26 workshops, but they're not just your ordinary 26 workshops. These are going to be absolutely awesome workshops because we've got such high caliber of presenters, speakers, experts in their own field. I just wanted to mention that before Regina moves away from that point, because I think it's important you know that the nuggets you're going to glean from these workshops.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. And it's going to be hands-on. We don't want you to just go away with information that you then have to figure out how to implement. We want to teach you hands-on in the moment. And so we've divided this into three themes. And the first theme is all about mindset, because you can't run a profitable business if your mindset isn't right. So the whole first day is all about mindset. Yeah. And then the next 2 days are about building the proper foundation in your business for that success that you desire. Because if you don't build it right, it's like a house of cards, right? Yeah. It's like a house of cards that can easily fall down, and we don't want that for you. And then the fourth day is all about implementing the tactics and strategies that we've been teaching you, how you actually will implement them in your business and creating your business plan, as it were, to move forward. So we are really excited about that. In addition, we have built in time for you to network with other attendees and with speakers and with our sponsors. So again, we're super excited about all of that.
Yes, before we get too much into our excitement, let's share with people who this event is for. So I'm sure you are all sitting there, you are listening to us, you're thinking, yeah, these two women are into their excitement, but who is it for? I don't even know if it's for me. Let me then tell you, people, it's for you, and I know it's for many of you sitting at home right now because you had the misfortune of being made redundant or laid off, whichever the phrase globally is used in your neck of the woods. But basically, you lost your job because the company you're working for went bust, either last year or for some of you, as we're speaking, very recently, you lost the job. So it's for you if you're in that position. Or indeed, it could be also, and indeed it is also for you, not all, it is also for you, if you're the person who's kind of thinking, is the job I'm doing actually meeting my expectations? You probably used to, but is it still? So you're probably asking yourself that question. Is it living up to my expectations? Probably, if you're asking yourself the question, chances are it no longer does, because otherwise you wouldn't be asking yourself that question. Are you in a job indeed that you know that you hate? And hate is a strong word, but you get to that position sometimes, or you dread getting up in the morning, having to do the job, in your house. Now you can't even do it outside of the house, or you can leave it there in the office, but actually maybe you're going to the office, but still you dread it. And are you asking yourself then, what do I do? What do I do now? How do I earn a living? What if within that kind of thinking, you are then saying to yourself, but I used to have a passion, or I still have a passion for such and such. I'm very good with my hands. I make things from wood. I repair things. We have a very big program in this country, in the UK, called the Repair Shop. And the experts there, they repair anything and everything. And I'm sure that's the case in the States. That's the case, in Australia, the world over. Or you work with soil, with not soil, clay. You're a potter. Or you've always wanted to open a tea shop by the seaside. So when people come down there to the seaside, they're running around on the beach, and then they suddenly think, oh, I could do with a cup of coffee, I could do with a cup of tea, etc. And you're the person. But actually, the challenge is how to get started.
Yeah.
How do you go from being an employee, somebody else tells you, or rather gives you the job description of what your role is, what you should do every day, what you should do every month, etc., to suddenly being your own boss, and you're the person who writes your own JD. How do you go from A to Z, as Regina was pointing out? Very, very different kettle of fish, very different mindset, as Regina again was mentioning. The mindset of an employee is I can tell you for nothing, is incredibly different to that of an employee, an entrepreneur, can't even say it now, entrepreneur, or indeed a business owner, or indeed being your own boss. Very different kettles of fish, so to speak. Have you therefore yearned to do something that is more aligned with your passion, aligned with who you know you are meant to be on planet Earth? Have you yearned for that, but never actually gone further than just yearning for it? Have you also been often wondering, is it possible to make a living from my passion, to doing things I love? Is it possible? Or maybe you've even discussed with a friend, but you haven't gone as further than, that would be nice. I know when I've discussed years ago with friends, we just gone, yeah, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? You just go like that. And then you just stop there. You go home, you think, yeah, where did we go with that? We said it would be lovely. Because the challenge is how to get started. Can I really do it on my own is the other big challenge. Because even though sometimes we don't quite like the people we work with, or we want to see less of them, but actually there's something about working with other people, isn't there? We share the tasks, we share the joys and, the upheavals and all of that. But actually, when you know the buck stops with you and only you then go to this big question mark. Can I do it on my own? And those are valid questions. Believe you me, they are valid questions. Or a different scenario. Are you like how I used to be, how I was for 3 long decades, that you're earning very good money, excellent money, 5 figures, 6 figures, but, and it's a big but, you are time poor. your energy poor. Believe you me, people looking in from outside, they see you having the car, the house, the 3 holidays per year abroad. So you got that lifestyle, that partners, that clothes, that nice watches, you name it, you got the lifestyle and everybody can see it, but inside of you feel empty. And actually you don't enjoy that lifestyle, because if you don't have energy, you don't enjoy anything much, do you? You don't. Let me give you an example. If you think that's just like theory, I'll tell you this story very, very quickly. Having been working 100-hour weeks for as long as I could remember, throughout the 3 decades, in fact, I was well known for it. Inspectors of our services, they used to always hear about this from, my staff, everybody, our partners, external partners. You can get Brenda middle of the night, you can get Brenda Saturdays, Sundays, anytime. And even inspectors used to say, regulators is what I mean. They used to say, when do you sleep? And I used to say, well, even when I'm sleeping, I have a phone by my bed and I hear it. But you take days off, even on my day off, I answer the phone. So let me tell you this, it soon catches up with you. And it caught up with me. Here's the example. So I'm with the love of my life, my soulmate, no less. 2 decades plus we've been together. And on this particular occasion, he and our good friends, they'd been sick of me just working, and then just said, we are doing what other couples do. We are together, the 4 of us, going for dinner on a Friday night to our favorite restaurant, Calusio. Love it, love Italian food. So I get home, reasonable hour for me, 8 o'clock, very early for me. So I'm very pleased with myself, shower, all that, doll myself up. In those days, I used to doll myself up, red lippy and all that, there, done up. Look the part, lovely. Heels even. Get there, fine, lovely, have my starter, maybe even a glass of champagne, Bollinger, lovely. Started well. So start, tick box. Main course arrives. I remember, to this day, all I still can remember is having one mouthful. And the next thing, my head is down in my baked salmon, asparagus, green salad. My head is down there because I'd fallen asleep. My poor soulmate, he was so embarrassed. He did not know what to do. I could have easily died of shame. In fact, I wanted a big hole just to come up underneath my feet and just let me crawl in there and hide in there forever. But obviously that wasn't to be. So he just bundled me out, took me home. So apologies for months on end to my friends and all the rest. But you see, they dined on that for weeks and months to come. It was a story for people to laugh, but actually there's a serious point to it, isn't there?
Yeah. Wasn't that funny from your side?
It wasn't that funny. So has that happened to you? Or maybe something even worse? Does anything I have said, the questions I've posed, do any of them resonate with you? Even if you just ticked the box on 1 or 2 of them, surely that should tell you that you need to take action, don't you think? And I think you do well by actually joining us on the Escape the Corporate Rat Race Business Incubator. Regina.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brenda. Yes, this is, folks, this is one of the most exciting projects I've ever been a part of, because it has such a power to impact lives moving forward and to help people really create not only the life they desire, but the income they desire. It changes lives when you can do that. It changes your life. It changes your family's life when they see more of you. Just like Brenda was talking about the time lost in her career, and how that can impact relationships. And so this it's very exciting for me to be a part of this. And one of the things that Brenda and I decided to do in this, to give it more value for you, is we've actually created a contest portion of it where you will have the opportunity to create your plan based on all of these workshops that you'll attend. You'll have the opportunity to create a plan of how you're going to implement that in your own business, how you're going to start your business, what are you going to name it, who's your client, what's your product or service, how are you going to market it, how do you make sales, how do you manage your money? Because you're going to have some, right, if you do it right. And then, of course, all the mindset things that we've talked about. There's so much to this that we felt it would be awesome if you could actually leave with your written plan. And so we've even built in time into the workflow, into the flow of the event for you to have time to actually work on your plan and get questions answered as you do. So we'll be there right with you while you're working on it. And you'll be able to ask questions of us and other speakers if if there's something that you're not sure about how to implement in your plan. And then there is an opportunity for those who want to partake of it. There's an opportunity for you to then present your plan to a judging panel. And we have garnered some of the best judges, some very successful people in the entrepreneurial world. And I'm going to let Brenda share with you about who our chief judge is. We have a panel of 5 judges. We're just going to share about the chief judge today, though, a little bit.
Absolutely. So as Regina says, not only have we got the highest caliber of speakers, presenters, but also we've really gone out of our way to identify and persuade, the top guns of the entrepreneurial world. And it's amazing, actually, the way people are supportive, and not one person that we've asked has said no. Not one person. Everybody, and some people, in fact, have shifted things in their diary, in their calendar. I'm old school diary calendar to actually make sure that they are available on this event. And one of those people who's actually done that is our head judge, and he's just an amazing person. He's a filmmaker. He actually has made the film that is a follow-up to The Secret. The Secret is the top film in the world of self-help, in the world of coaching, in the world of transformation. And he's actually, he's the producer. He actually came up with the idea of what would be the best film to follow up from, to take people on the journey further than The Secret. And that film is called Thoughts Become Things. And one of the things that's going to happen while you're with us during this event is that you're actually going to go on that journey where your idea, which is a thought, is actually going to become something concrete by the time we are done, by the time we get to the 30th, which is why Regina said we wanted you to leave with something. There's so many events where you go, granted, you take a lot of copious notes and you take screenshots, however you do it. It's not the same thing as actually taking something that is concrete, implementable straight away. And that is what's going to happen. And our head judge is actually going to make sure that happens because he has the skills. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's known for that. And by the way, the film I mentioned is not the only one. He's got several films. You can look him up. His name is Douglas Bierman. And let me spell it for you. No, actually, you're going to find it in the. If you are interested and want to join us, you'll find it on the landing page. It's easier. And he is known as the modern day Napoleon Hill. Now, if you're listening to us and you've listened to this point, I know that you know of Napoleon Hill. Now, if you know that he is actually nicknamed that, and I don't know of anybody who's got that nickname, it is only himself globally. And actually, not only that, time and time again, including this year, he is rated by the media globally as the top speaker trainer, the top speaker trainer the world over. So I am just so humbled, because when I asked him, I actually thought he's going to say, you having a laugh? Your little event, your little event. But fortunately, I'd done some work, some other work with him. And, when I told him who my co-host is as well, and this amazing woman, who's my co-host, he said, yeah, I know your interaction. And now if you tell me your co-host is also interaction, I'm there. So join us.
Awesome.
Even if you just come for some of the days, I take it from us, your life will change. Your life will change.
Awesome. I am so excited. This event is going to be just phenomenal, and we are so excited to share it with the world. I do want to take you for just a moment. This is less than a moment. I want you to hear from our judge in this, Douglas Vermeuren. And so let's play his video clip real quickly here. It is less than a minute long. Let's see. I think there we go. Well, it's not playing. Okay, so we're having a little technical difficulty with that. But it will be we'll post it on social media and you'll be able to see that. We are currently in the pre-registration phase of this. And so we'll shortly have out the registration process within the next day or two. But in the meantime, we wanted to give everybody an opportunity to go ahead and pre-register, because we anticipate a large group of attendees for this. And we want to make sure that if you're hearing this now and you want to attend, that you get your name in the hat to attend. And so we're going to put up here the site where you can go to pre-register. So you'll see that on the screen here in just a moment. I'll just tell you, though, it is bit.ly/pre-register-ECRR. And so you will see that here again shortly. We are excited to bring this. It is time. The world needs this right now. It is the best time to be bringing this forward to help people move forward in their lives and help them find that way to fulfill the longing that they've had within to do something for themselves, because we know a lot of folks do have that, and they have stayed in the corporate world or the business world as an employee for a long time because they didn't think they had the options or didn't know how to get started. So we want to remove all of that. Let's see. Okay, so you have the link to pre-register. Once you get pre-registered, we'll make sure that you are the first people to get the registration link once it comes out. And I'm really excited that you've joined us today, and look forward to seeing you again next week. And next week is when we will start our program. On the 18th, we'll start our live streams, and that will be at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And we'll be doing that daily, interviewing all of the teachers and speakers and presenters for this event. So with that, I'm going to wish you an amazing week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week and a wonderful day today. And I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
international speaker, youth advocate, professional development coach, and published author who grew up in the inner cities of Baltimore and Jacksonville in the United States. In the USA, Rodney is regarded as one of the nation's top leaders in unlocking human potential and inspiring organizations to greatness. He's delivered speeches all over the globe and is poised to disrupt the status quo in leadership and organizational development. It is my distinct honor to introduce you to Rodney C Burris.
I have an organization that I love talking about. I learned a lot of good lessons from them. They're based in Baltimore. They're called Thread.org. Now, I haven't checked on Thread in a while, so I'm hoping that they're still thriving and kicking. I'm sending them positive energy. So the interesting thing about Thread is Thread's whole mission was to bring people together and build positive relationships across lines of difference, right? And so they wanted Baltimoreans of all walks of life, right? Very rich, not so rich, this side of town, that side of town. You name it, a whole bunch of degrees, very, very little education, right? This industry, across industries represented, like you name it, all of the different ways that a person could show up to be represented. That's called intersectionality, right? I represent this group. I'm a woman. I'm Asian. I live on the north side of Baltimore, or the south side of Baltimore. Like all of the different things that makes me me, and mingle me with people with different profile types, and let us build healthy connections. And what I love about that is that any system that has a lot of interconnections becomes healthy. I'll show you what I mean. I mentioned this before. Inside of a body, inside of an organism, when there's a lot of blood flow, when there's a bunch of veins and arteries and capillaries that are going to a particular region of the body, that particular part of the body thrives, right? It becomes healthier. One of the things that a lot of medicinal practices do, especially therapeutic practices that don't just heavily rely on prescribing a pill or some sort of prescription, but actually utilize the body's natural function, is to drive blood flow to a particular area to increase healing, right? Because the truth of the matter is that healing takes place inside of the body based on what we eat. Right? That's a whole nother topic. We'll get to that at a different time. Not to say that you just need to only eat salads, or because that may not necessarily be healthy for you, which is also a whole nother conversation we'll get to at a different time, right? But increasing the blood flow, the traffic, creates healthiness. It's the same thing with different parts of town, different parts of the state. Any particular state, name one, any particular country, the more traffic that runs there, the healthier, the more it thrives. It becomes vibrant. It's a bunch of people that live there that want to be a part. You got trade and commerce happening. Those things don't happen so much when you have your nearest neighbor is 3 or 4 miles apart in either direction, right? Over the river and through the woods. You might have a calm quality of life, right? But you don't have the bustling thriving that happens. I remember years ago, I was in high school in biology, and we were looking at a video of blood cells traveling through the veins. And it looked like a highway. Like it looked like, if you've ever been in your hotel room, I've had a few experiences where at nighttime, I either got up in the middle of the night, or it's late and I'm about to go to sleep, and you open up your hotel window, especially if it's overlooking a highway, right? And you just see all of these lights just nonstop, exiting and coming in and emerging. And it almost looks like, it looks seamless. It looks effortless. Well, that's what all of those blood cells moving through the veins look like in these videos. It was just the coolest thing. And so in that regard, I've mentioned this before, universal principles show up everywhere. You're able to see the ebb and the flow, the merging in. If we could look at water molecules as they run from the river through the streams, into the tributaries, into the ocean, right? Or into the lake or the river or the pond or whatever it is, and it comes back out. If we could look at it on a molecular level, it's the same thing. But if you kind of zoom out and you look at fish and schools of fish that merge and intertwine, it's the same thing, right? So that flow, when you have so many articulations that are moving in and out and working together, it builds a healthiness. Well, Thread was trying to do that for the city of Baltimore, right? And their idea was to create these pods or families, these makeshift families of people that had all of these different intersectionalities represented. Right? Great idea. And they supported them and provided events for them and gave them reason and occasions to do different things. And this whole kind of thing is to make a bigger, brighter, more just, more verdant, connected Baltimore, and then to take that model around, right? I love the idea of it. I love what they're doing. So shout out to them. Well, I had the opportunity to actually work there for a while. And so I was brought in to join the team as a middle manager. This is some years ago, to be a middle manager there to help them hit these numerical goals, right? There were some data points that they were trying to get to, and they hadn't done it as an organization for a lot of years. So I knew somebody in the organization. She brought me into the organization. It's like, hey, Rodney, we're going to work on this. I'm going to put you in a key position to help us do it. We're going to drive towards it. We hit those numbers. And if that was the totality of the story, we would be done, right? Thank you. Good night. Great video talking with you guys right now. But that's not what happened. There's a lot of bumps and bruises that happen. And it was one of the most uncomfortable yet healthy experiences I've ever had in my entire career as a professional. I learned a lot about my shortcomings, if I can be honest. There's so many what I would consider low-level skills, business acumen, knowledge and awareness that I just did not possess. Embarrassingly so, right? Like, why don't you have this under your belt? Why is this not in your toolkit already? Oh, coming face to face with those realities was one of the most needed and yet uncomfortable things that I have ever experienced as a professional. I'm glad it happened. That was one of the reasons. Another one of the reasons is, and all organizations can experience this. Thread consistently hired, although their intent was to bring people from across lines of differences together, right? If you looked at the organization for the past couple of years, right before I came, and during the 2-ish years or so that I was there, Thread hired people from the same type. There was male and female, yes, right? But if we had a list of several traits, many of the people would check off most of the traits. Ideology, thought, experiences, recreational proclivities, preferences about things, what they consider a good time, what they have not been exposed to, their connection to Baltimore, where the organization was, their connection to the people they were trying to serve. If we made a list of those things and had male and female people check it off, you would see overriding trends in Thread hiring the same type of person. Okay. I didn't fit a lot of that, right? So we're bringing in different people. And we were fine for a little bit. And then we started experiencing all sorts of bumps. Now, a lot of those bumps were due to my bumpiness. It was just a lot that I didn't know. Right. And so being in such a pivotal middle management position, a lot hinges on my input and the rollout of my own duties in that space. And I wasn't good at it. And I hate to say it. I want to come on here and share with you guys and be like, oh, yeah, made it happen. That's not true. That's not authentic. Right. Some of the bumps was due to other people and personalities and all of that kind of stuff. Right. We'll get to that in a second. Then we got to a point where things started kind of settling down. And then we got to a point where we got good at it. And it wasn't until we got good at it that we started hitting these numbers, right? We built enough rapport with each other where we shifted, and I, as a middle manager, finally shifted into a space where I led the team differently in a way that we got a bunch of like outcry against. Like, we don't want to do this. No one likes this. And we had an 80% what they call touch point goal, right? That up until that point, either we hadn't hit or we hadn't tracked in a way to hit it, right? So how do you hit something you're not tracking? It happens to a lot of us. Can I give you an example? A lot of us say we want to be rich, or we want to move, or we want a better job, or we want more money, or we want to be happier. The things that get measured get improved. Repeat that. It's only the things that get measured that we can improve upon, because you know where you are, where you've been, and where you're going, right? And if you don't know that, how do you know what more is? What is better? What's happier? What does that mean? Right? And so if we can't quantify it, how do we actually know? It's always nebulous. It's always out of reach. It's always going to get there tomorrow, soon, as opposed to by the 13th at 7 p.m. So because of that, on the 12th, I'm going to make sure. And because of that, I'm going to actually do this and this on the 9th. And then on the 4th, I'm actually going to do this. And right now it's the 27th. So I'm actually going to give myself 2 days between the 27th and the 29th to work on this part of it. Do you see that? All of a sudden, we're having a different conversation. That's way different than hoping by the middle of the month, we get to there, wherever there is in life. Okay, that's an axiom. Things that get measured can be improved upon. And so I was in a position where I pushed us again, and that was a little uncomfortable. We end up hitting the 80% touch point goal. And it was at that point, prior to then, and coming out of that I developed a different affinity for that place. I wanted to be there. And at first, the idea was for me to come in to help us hit the goal and for me to get out, right? It was like a booster shot, like boom, like get it and go, right? And I developed such a love for this place, and I didn't want to leave. And my friend that was a higher up manager, she was in management higher than me at a different level. She was like, that's not why I brought you in. Like, I didn't bring you in for you to stay here forever indefinitely. I brought you in for us to do this. And the organization, because we hit those touch points, right? Because we hit that data marker, it actually was a part of a whole symphony of things that once enacted, it was changing the organization in a good way. So the organization was shifting from the one that I came into to the one that it was becoming. And the one that it was becoming didn't seem to have a place for me. Now, at this time, I wasn't heavily pushing my own initiatives. I didn't have products and books around, right? I wasn't having these kind of conversations out there. I had stopped doing a lot of that so I could be this guy, this company man, right? And I was so worried and offended and like, I just wanted to be here. And why can't we grow together? And I went from this team in the organization to this team. I went from this team to this team. None of it worked. None of it stuck. And I had a couple conversations with the CEO. And at the end of the day, the consistent message that I was receiving was, we don't have any problem with you. It's just that we don't have a space for you here anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, we can do this, we can create. And it was like, we're trying to move to here. It's going to hard to kind of carve this out so that you've helped us. We don't have a space for your skill set. You have great skill sets. We like you. We don't have a problem with you. Now, it's one thing to hear that, right? There's been a few times over the years that I left that I would just pop back up randomly, right? Especially pre-COVID. I would pop back up randomly and, hey, Rodney, you know what's going on? And I'm sitting around and I've been needing to talk to you. We have these conversations and it's great and the energy is good. So I can say hindsight is 2020. The idea that they didn't have a reason to let me go that was negative actually was fine, right? It was no big deal. But at the time, I felt like I was dying. I wish that I had a better grasp on what I'm about to share with you right now. See, the truth of the matter is there's something called the 5 phases of group dynamics. What does that mean? The 5 phases of group dynamics is a researched, proven, redemonstrated system that all small groups, organizations, family units go through. So I'm going to run through those real quick. There are 5 components to it. I'm going to run through these, and I want to equip us as leaders, right? As leaders, when we are engaging and helping our people, we want to equip them with this knowledge so they can see the big picture, because it's very easy to get stuck. I have my microphone right here in front of me, right? This is my microphone. It's very easy to get stuck seeing the tree that's in front of you where you can't see the forest that's beyond you. We don't want to get so caught up on the tree that we can't see the forest. One of my favorite sayings is this right here. Everything that's happening is not necessarily what's going on. And so sometimes, because we're only looking at what's happening, we miss from a panoramic view what's really going on. That takes leadership. So as leaders, it's up to us to birth that, to bring that perspective, and to teach, equip, and train our people to view things like this so that we all share in the understanding. Now, there's some things that leaders are going to be privy to, right, that the rest of the organization just won't. Okay, we know that. Parents are going to know things about the family, the household, what's going on, that children just don't get, right? There's a lot of that. It's a lot that goes into, do you have McDonald's money? We know that phrase, we've heard it. And sometimes it just sounds like mom, dad's being mean. Mom, dad just don't want to get me a Happy Meal. Mom, dad just, man, I don't just want to eat the food at the house. I saw this other quote. It said, when I moved out and the older I became, the more I worked, the more I realized that my parents was right. I do have food at home. Because that living, going through those experiences, help you see real quick, oh, I could spend 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, 150, $200 a week eating food from all over the place. Or I could recognize that I do have food at home. And I could take the time and the preparation to make it. Those are good skills. But at 6 and 7 years old, all we're hearing is, do you have McDonald's money? Oh my God, yeah. Right? So training our people to zoom out and to see things from a leadership mindset perspective is a major part of why we are in the leadership roles. Okay, so I'm going to run through these 5. I want you to grab these 5, right? Internalize them in a way where you can explain them to your people so that we can help the whole of us grow. Okay, all right, here we go. Let me move my chair. All right, so okay, all groups, I always find myself having to bend over to talk to you guys. It's all good. All groups, all families, all organizations, all teams go through these 5 phases. How many phases are there? I just said it. There are 5. Yes. Ready? Number 1. All groups go through a period where they are coming together. You see this? This is forming. This is coming together. This is the start. Okay? all groups, the second phase of them having a common reason of what brings us together, the second phase for all teams, all families, all newlyweds, all organizations, the second phase is always problem time, stormy weather, right? Now, I know these words are going to sound funny, but I'm going to show you when we get through our 5 of them, I'm going to help you come to grips with how we use these words, okay? For right now, internalize the meaning, okay? They come together, and shortly after coming together, we have problems. Who put you in charge? Why I got to listen to you? I think that we should actually, that don't make no sense. I don't want to do that no more. That's not how we used to do it. Why can't we? It's normal. Now, once again, there are how many phases? Right? But you know what we do? At this phase right here, we bail out. We break up the relationship. We submit the resignation. I can't work here. It ain't gonna work. I can't do this here. Right? We get out of there. We move on. We bail out because we're so smart. We see the writing on the wall that this just ain't working. This is literally what if we were a teenager, if we were a human organism, this is growing pains. This is adolescence. This is when our breasts may be forming. I know that's kind of taboo to say, but you know how painful that is? I don't actually know. I've just heard, right? I've just heard. I got daughters that have gone through this. I got sisters over the years. For dudes, your voice starts squeaking. You try to talk and you gotta go squeaking. You gotta go, oh, wait, right? Your knees are hurting. Body parts are body parts. Can we just accept the human body for what it is, right? Okay. So with that being said, we understand that all of these things happen. This doesn't mean that we need to throw the human body away. You know what? This is why so many teenagers struggle with identity of self, because they had this period of being kiddos and life is good. We're good. We're okay. And then shortly after that, 10 years, 12 years into being a kiddo, being on this planet, I start changing real bad. And if you think about it, if these are my early years, these teenage years happen fairly early. You're still very much young and growing up. Universal principle. We see them everywhere. How many times have we said this in our conversations? You see universal principles everywhere because they're universal. Okay, let's keep going. After a while, after we get through adolescence, we start to figure out our skincare. We start to figure out who we are. We start to know what we like. We get comfortable in us being us. Norming. Now, I know norming is not a typical word, grammatically speaking, and some of us are like, wait a minute. I'm going to get to you. If you can, just put that in the parking lot. We're coming to that. I'm going to acknowledge that in a second. Okay? We come together. We go through the funky teenage years, adolescence. We get good at, we just kind of level out, right? It's like, we're not going through growth spurts. The clothes that we've had a couple of years ago, we can still wear, as opposed to this period of outgrowing everything. Nothing fits, body weight fluctuating, right? We're leveling out. As we level out in our 20s into our 30s, whatever, we start getting good at being us. I'm not just going through the motions, right? I can put on a performance of me being me. Our team is not just connected. We're winning. We're going to the playoffs, right? We're winning championships. We're good at being us. Our coaching staff, we got the same people. Oh, this is good. Like, we are good to go. Performing feels great. Now, there was a movie years ago, Lion King, Circle of Life, right? The circle of life tells us what? All good things come to an end. Winter, summer, spring, fall. Winter, summer, spring, fall. There's never been a sunrise that's not followed by all of the phases of going through the daytime into the evening dusk, back into night. And there's not a nighttime that's not followed by, once again, what? A sunrise. As long as our planet's going to be here. Now, we get to a place in time where we don't got no sunrises and no sunsets. That's indicative of planetary galaxial change. And I think that it being a day or not is the least of our concern. We may not even be here, right? Life as we know it is going to be different. So as long as the life as we know it is consistent, the sun is going to come up and it's going to go back down and it's going to come back up. We understand that all good things eventually have a sunset. It's the circle of life. So the last phase represents that. Right? Okay, so you have forming, storming, norming, performing, and the ending, adjourning, right? Now, for those of us that are uncomfortable with some of these ing words, first and foremost, these five phases of group development is something that has been highly researched, yes? So this isn't actually a Rodney C Burris principle, a model. This is actually something that you can look up. So if it makes you feel any better, feel free to type in the 5 phases of group development and see what comes up. You're going to see this, okay? So these are accepted words to describe this model before you and I got connected, okay? I'm just sharing what we already all have access to and expanding in a way that I hope is digestible for where we are, you and I, okay? Now, this is baby/childhood. This is the adolescent, right? The awkwardness, right? This is going into your 20s. You're good and grown here, right? Retirement, okay? The golden years, okay? That's what it should be. Why do I say that? Because a lot of times we look at, and this was me when I was at Thread. We look at the ending of a group as a death. But literally, this could be graduation, right? I could no longer, I got a pair of shoes. They hurt my feet because I didn't break them in. I finally break them in. They feel good to me like an old shoe. That's the cliche. That thing's comfortable like an old shoe, right? So reason why that's in our language. I've outgrown that shoe. It still could look good. It still could fit fine. It still could be in good condition. We might be able to donate it to somebody else. But my conditions have changed. We have clothes like that. We have relationships like that. We have friendships like that. We have places of employment, Rodney, that are like that. And we don't know how to let that stuff go because we take everything as offensive. I got to hold on to, I have to. But in real life, we actually know that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to hold on so tightly to something that we know we need to move on past. But it's hard living through it to let it go. But if we got to the point where we can actually realize, now, let me make it personal. I didn't realize that the lessons I was learning with Thread was actually propelling me into the life that I'm currently living now. There was a discipline that I got. There was a level of humility that I was able to tap into that I did not own. Not to say that I wasn't humble. I said it was a level of humility that clearly I needed. There was a level of self-awareness about my strengths and my weaknesses. Some of those that I need to improve upon, and some of those I needed to be aware of so that I can build the type of partnerships as a individual who now has a business of doing this to help support me in ways that I needed. I didn't realize that stuff. I didn't know what I didn't know. Since then, I've become a #1 Amazon bestselling author. I have toured all over the country. I've been invited to other countries, right, to share some of these same concepts and the other ones that we've done in our videos over the time. Some of these same talks, because they have been helpful in their life-giving. Well, you can't give what you don't have. If I don't have life experience to tap in, this is stuff that we can you just look this up, right? Some of us just went on and looked this up. This stuff is on here, but it's not alive. If it's just on a Wikipedia page, for example, right? If it's just posted in some article, it can lack a certain vitality that allows us to connect to it. It might be good for other people, but some of us need that spark, that catalyst to convert the energy into something that we can use and metabolize. So that's what my personal experiences bring to the table. So now these just aren't phases. I've talked about this as it relates to human growth development, right? The whole life cycle. Now, here's something that I want you to we need to get our people to understand this right here. Each and every time, I don't care what stage of this you're on, and there's no time limit for how long each of these phases can last, right? But they pretty much go in this order. Each and every time you add a new person or process to your organization, that is a new group. And what do all new groups have to go through? All 5 phases. So if we are performing, if we just won the championship and we change out our kicker or our point guard or our coach, that's a new group. If we move stadiums or arenas, if we change something about us, half the people get signed over here, traded because now their salary is worth more. They can demand more money. Although we got the same name, we're not the same team. We're not the same team. And all new teams, new families, new groups, new organizations must go through the same what? 5 phases. So now we go from here to forming all over again. All over again. We go from here. Now, here's the deal. Let's have a leadership mindset about this. See, this is where wisdom and foresight comes into play. Every time we bring a group together and we hit bumpy waters, every time as leaders, instead of growing our people, instead of building them up, instead of training them and supporting them, we use that as an opportunity to get rid of them. We use it as an opportunity to replace folks out. What are we doing to our own organization? Restarting the clock, restarting the clock, restarting the clock, restarting the clock. Every single time. And then we wonder why we keep living in this cycle. Because we need to instead tap into the leadership mindset that allows us to recognize that the bumpy water is not because we made a poor hire, but literally, let's take it into the side of the household. Every time we add a new baby, this is a new family. When we go from a family of 3 to a family of 4, we go from a family of 4 to a family of 5. That family of 5 could be because we let grandpa live with us. That's a new family. That family of 5 can mean because we went from having 3 small kids to 2 big kids and 1 teenager. That's a new family. That's a different family. It's different rules now. It's different. And guess what? When that middle child becomes a teenager, we got a family of one big kid and 2 teens. You've been through this. Those dynamics are different. I can't treat them like how we used to when y'all was in the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st grade. All cute, cutting up your sandwiches. Life is different. All 3 of y'all can't sit in the back seat together. It's different now. And if we don't make allowances as leaders for our team members to go through this and let them know that this is okay, that it's normal, that just like the sun comes back out after it rains, but when the sun is up, soon it is going to rain again. And that the water coming out the sky isn't a sign of detriment and death, that we can prepare that we can pack accordingly, that we can choose to stay indoors or outdoors. We don't have to get caught outside and just get wet. That's foresight. That's leadership. That's why me and you are in position to do what we do for them, to be who we are for them, for us, for each other, right? This right here, as it relates to a family, going through back to the phase, could literally be, we got a dog, we got a cat, we got rid of the cat. It's a different family. It's a different family. Now, the grocery budget is different by adding or subtracting a dog or a cat, a bird, a turtle, a goldfish, tank, aquarium. The duties, the assignments, where we can go on vacation versus where we need to come. How far can we be gone? How long can we be gone? You're a different family. Oh, so you're just going to just be gone as if you don't have a dog at the house? Try that. We know families that have gone through that experience. You got to make adjustments for the new family. So now we're going through forming, and until we learn what we can do, the dog's going to tear some stuff up. The tank's going to get overrun. It's not going to get cleaned out like how it should be, right? The litter box, the smell in the house. I thought, but see, the kids are a year older, right? So the chores and adjustment based on who's picking up who and who's leaving and who's getting on the bus and who has that stuff to do. And I got this new thing in my job. All of that changes. And now we shouldn't be together no more. Now our family sucks, does it? Or is it going through something that every team and organization and group ever, every household ever has gone through? As leaders, as parents, as managers, as supervisors, it is incumbent upon us to be aware of this in spirit, if not in theory. If not in fact, right? If we don't know these phases in fact, we need to know them in theory, the spirit of this, so that we can help our people navigate, so that we can move eventually from storming. If we tired of going through that storming period, we need to settle some stuff. Don't change anything. Let things be. Unless there are natural adjustments that are coming, then we got to embrace those. We can't stop it from getting dark ever. So what are we going to do? You use that time to sleep, to rest, to recover. If natural changes are coming, then do what feels natural. You still got work to do? Sure. Could you stay up all night writing and doing and working? Yeah, you could. Or you could listen to the circadian rhythm within all of us and take that time to rejuvenate, recuperate, and reconnect. These are the 5 phases of group development, right? And as we understand these, we can do a better and better job of leading this mindset within our people so that they have the same type of awareness and approach that we have. My name is Rodney C Burris. You know where I am, rodneycburris.com, at Rodney C Burris across social media. I would love to connect. Thank you.